It's the second part of Malcolm X's Ballot or the Bullet speech from 1964. You'd say the people who are in this audience right now, they're poor. We're all poor as individuals. Our weekly salary individually amounts to hardly anything. But if you take the salary of everyone in here collectively, it'll fill up a whole lot of baskets. It's a lot of wealth. If you can collect the wages of just these people right here for a year, you'll be rich, richer than rich. When you look at it like that, think how rich Uncle Sam had to become. Not with this handful, but millions of black people. You and my father and mother, who didn't work an 8-hour shift, but worked from can't see in the morning until can't see at night, and worked for nothing, making the white man rich, making Uncle Sam rich. This is our investment. This is our contribution, our blood. Not only did we give of our free labour, we gave of our blood. Every time we had a call to arms, we were the first ones in uniform. We died on every battlefield the white man had. We've made a greater sacrifice than anybody who's standing up in America today. We've made a greater contribution and have collected less. Civil rights, for those of us whose philosophy is black nationalism, means give it to us now. Don't wait for next year. Give it to us yesterday, and that's not fast enough. I might stop here to point out one thing. Whenever you're going after something that belongs to you, anyone who's depriving you of the right to have it is a criminal. Understand that. Whenever you're going after something that's yours, you are within your legal rights to lay claim to it. And anyone who puts forth any effort to deprive you of that which is yours is breaking the law, is a criminal. And this was pointed out by the Supreme Court decision. It outlawed segregation, which means segregation is against the law, which means a segregationist is breaking the law. A segregationist is a criminal. You can't label him as anything other than that. And when you demonstrate against segregation, the law is on your side. The Supreme Court is on your side. Now, who is it that opposes you in carrying out the law? The police department itself, with police dogs and clubs. Whenever you demonstrate against segregation, whether it's segregated education, segregated housing, or anything else, the law is on your side. And anyone who stands in your way is not the law any longer. They are breaking the law. They are not representatives of the law. Anytime you demonstrate against segregation and a man has the audacity to put a police dog on you, kill that dog. Kill him, I'm telling you, kill that dog. I say, if they put me in jail tomorrow, kill that dog. Then you'll put a stop to it. Now, if these white people in here don't want to see that kind of action, get down and tell the mayor to tell the police department to pull the dogs in. That's all you have to do. If you don't do it, someone else will. Uncle Sam's hands are dripping with blood. Dripping with the blood of the black man in this country. He's the Earth's #1 hypocrite. He has the audacity, yes he has, imagine him posing as the leader of the free world. The free world. And you over here singing, "We shall overcome." Expand the civil rights struggle to the level of human rights. Take it into the United Nations, where our African brothers can throw their weight on our side, where our Asian brothers can throw their weight on our side, where our Latin American brothers can throw their weight on our side, and where 800 million Chinamen are sitting there waiting to throw their weight on our side. Let the world know how bloody his hands are. Let the world know the hypocrisy he's practiced over here. Let it be the ballot or the bullet. Let him know that it must be the ballot or the bullet. When you take your case to Washington, D.C., you're taking it to the criminal who's responsible. It's like running from the wolf to the fox. They're all in cahoots together. They all work political chicanery and make you look like a chump before the eyes of the world. Here you are walking in America, getting ready to be drafted and sent abroad like a tin soldier. And when you get over there, people ask you what you're fighting for. And you have to stick your tongue in your cheek. Now, take Uncle Sam to court. Take him before the world. By ballot, I only mean freedom. Don't you know that the ballot is more important than the dollar? Can I prove it? Yes, look at the UN. There are poor nations in the UN, yet those poor nations can get together with their voting power and keep the rich nations from making a move. They have one nation, one vote. Everyone has an equal vote. And when those brothers from Asia and Africa and the darker parts of this earth get together, their voting power is sufficient to hold Sam in check, or Russia in check, or some other section of the earth in check. So the ballot is most important. Right now in this country, if you and I, 22 million African Americans, that's what we are, Africans who are in America, you're nothing but Africans. Nothing but Africans. In fact, you'd get further calling yourself African instead of Negro. Africans don't catch hell. You're the only one catching hell. They don't have to pass civil rights bills for Africans. An African can go anywhere he wants right now. All you've got to do is tie your head up. That's right, go anywhere you want. Just stop being a Negro, change your name to Hooga Gagwooga. That'll show you how silly the white man is. You're dealing with a silly man. A friend of mine who's very dark put a turban on his head and went into a restaurant in Atlanta before they called themselves desegregated. He went into a white restaurant, he sat down, they served him. And he said, what would happen if a Negro came in here? And there he's sitting black as night, but because he had his head wrapped up, the waitress looked back at him and says, why, there wouldn't be no nigger dare come in here. So you're dealing with a man whose bias and prejudice are making him lose his mind, his intelligence, every day. He's frightened. He looks around and sees what's taking place on this earth, and he sees that the pendulum of time is swinging in your direction. The dark people are waking up. They're losing their fear of the white man. No place where he's fighting right now is he winning. Everywhere he's fighting someone your and my complexion. And they're beating him. He can't win anymore. He's won his last battle. He failed to win the Korean War. He couldn't win it. He had to sign a truce. That's a loss. Any time Uncle Sam with all his machinery for warfare is held to a draw by some rice eaters, he's lost the battle. He had to sign a truce. America's not supposed to sign a truce. She's supposed to be bad, but she's not bad anymore. She's bad as long as she can use her hydrogen bomb, but she can't use hers for fear Russia might use hers. Russia can't use hers for fear that Sam might use his. So both of them are weaponless. They can't use the weapon because each's weapon nullifies the other. So the only place where action can take place is on the ground, and the white man can't win another war fighting on the ground. Those days are over. The black man knows it, the brown man knows it, the red man knows it, and the yellow man knows it. So they engage him in guerrilla warfare. That's not his style. You've got to have heart to be a guerrilla warrior, and he hasn't got any heart, I'm telling you now. I just want to give you a little briefing on guerrilla warfare, because before you know it, it takes heart to be a guerrilla warrior, because you're on your own. In conventional warfare, you have tanks and a whole lot of other people with you to back you up, planes over your head and all that kind of stuff. But a guerrilla is on your own. All you have is a rifle, some sneakers and a bowl of rice. That's all you need, and a lot of heart. The Japanese on some of those islands in the Pacific, when the American soldiers landed, one Japanese sometimes could hold the whole army off. He'd just wait until the sun went down, and when the sun went down, they were all equal. He'd take his little blade and slip from bush to bush and from American to American. The white soldiers couldn't cope with that. Whenever you see a white soldier that fought in the Pacific, he has the shakes. He has a nervous condition because they scared him to death. The political philosophy of black nationalism means that the black man should control the politics and the politicians in his own community, no more. The black man in the black community has to be very educated into the science of politics, so he will know what politics is supposed to bring in return. Don't be throwing out any ballots. A ballot is like a bullet. You don't throw your ballots until you see a target. And if that target's not within your reach, keep your ballot in your pocket. We'll work with anybody, anywhere, anytime, who's genuinely interested in tackling the problem head on. Non-violently as long as the enemy is non-violent, but violent when the enemy strikes violent. We'll work with you on a voter registration drive. We'll work with you on rent strikes. We'll work with you on school boycotts. I don't believe in any kind of integration. I'm not even worried about it because I know you're not going to get it anyway. You're not going to get it because you're afraid to die. You've got to be ready to die if you try and force yourself on a white man, because he'll get just as violent as those crackers in Mississippi, right here in Cleveland. But we'll still work with you on the school boycotts because we're against a segregated school system. A segregated school system produces children who, when they graduate with crippled minds. But this doesn't mean that the school is segregated because it's all black. A segregated school means a school that's controlled by people who have no real interest in it whatsoever. Last but not least, I must say this concerning the great controversy over rifles and shotguns. The only thing that I've ever said is that in areas where the government has proven itself either unwilling or unable to defend the lives and property of Negroes, it's time for Negroes to defend themselves. Article number 2 of the Constitutional Amendments provides you and me the right to own a rifle or a shotgun. It's constitutionally legal to own a rifle or a shotgun. This doesn't mean you're going to get a rifle and form battalions and go out looking for white folks, although you'd be within your rights. I mean, you'd be justified, but that would be illegal, and we don't do anything illegal. If the white man doesn't want the black man buying rifles and shotguns, then let the government do its job. After all, and don't let the white man come to you and ask you what you think about what Malcolm says. Why, you old Uncle Tom. He'd never ask you if you thought you were going to say amen. No, he's making a Tom out of you. So this doesn't mean forming rifle clubs and going out looking for people, but it is time in 1964, if you're a man, to let that man know. If he's not going to do his job in running the government and providing you and me with the protection that our taxes are supposed to be for, it's time now.